Okay, so we are Crystal Consulting Company. How many of you in this room are involved in a student organization on this campus? What organization are you on?
Kappa Delta.
Diversity.
Anyone else?
Okay, so I'm just going to introduce us real quickly. So we have Nefemi and Fatimata, and they are our co-executives of communication.
Hey guys.
And we have David, who is our chief business analysis. And we have Taylor and myself, Caroline, and we are the co-executives of public relations. And we have Jimmy, who is our director of risk management. And I'm going to pass it to Taylor, who will talk about our history.
Okay, so Crystal Consulting Company was created about 10 years ago by these 6 individuals you see in front of you. We are from 6 different colleges, and each of us on our campuses helped to do exactly what we're wanting to do for you. Help expand and your company. So some examples are Southern Poly Technical Institution, who used to be, it was Southern Poly and is now Kennesaw State University. We helped them during their merger. We helped them actually kind of declare themselves as Kennesaw State University Marietta campus. We helped on the University of Georgia's campus, helping their newspaper and a couple other organizations to expand, get their students more involved. And at Savannah State, we helped with the local, the newspaper convention that comes every year. We helped to get more, get it out there into the public so more people would know about it. I'm going to pass it back off to Caroline.
For the summary of our proposal, upon the request of the school, Crystal Consulting Company has created a proposal to help students around campus know more about the Center of Student Involvement and get them more out there. And we came up with 3 main ideas of how to help them, and it is the organizational image, the external communication, and increasing the student involvement projects. And now I'm going to pass it to Jenny, who will talk to you more in depth about these ideas.
Thank you very much, Carol. So, as you can all see here, when a lot of people think about activities on campus, unless there's like free food involved, this is usually what you get. You think it's boring, you don't think it's very interesting. But there's actually a lot more detail behind it than what it seems. So I'm going to start off with a quote. The single problem plaguing all students and students everywhere is the crisis of disconnection. What does that mean for you all? So you guys remember you were first coming to the University of West Georgia. Unless you guys already went here, you didn't exactly know what to do. Some of you had your eye on some sororities, some fraternities, some groups. You didn't know exactly how to talk to them, how to approach them, how to get to know them. This is where CSI comes in. CSI is essentially the umbrella for all these campus organizations. So it literally starts when you come to visit West Georgia, and as some of you in Kappa Delta, in Knowing Diversity, in YL, so Young
American Unity.
American Unity, my bad. So as you join these groups, you get more acclimated to the university, you get more used to it, you increase your involvement, you volunteer, you get more, you want to stay to West Georgia, you want to graduate from West Georgia. And it literally goes from start to finish. So putting that in more perspectives for you. That means this affects other offices on campus. So starting off from admissions. You first come to West Georgia, you see the nice greenery, lots of random campus cats, nice campus center. It's a nice place to be, but you want to see more people. You want to see the happy students. You want to see them excited, being involved, nice music playing, happy, energetic people. So that affects admission people who are coming in. How does that affect you when you're going out in terms of leadership, you might ask? So in terms of David, he currently has an internship at Southwire. I'm going to go to Hunt and say, because David was involved, he met the right type of people who put him in that positive mindset. Kappa Delta, correct?
Yes.
Being in Kappa Delta, I'm sure your sorority has GPA requirements, correct, as well.
We do.
They usually have pillars that are surrounded around academic excellence, as well as positivity and giving back. And I'm pretty sure, because she did great on the presentation, she's also a great example of that as well, as well as beyond the back of women on that diversity. So this definitely channels into leadership, so not only does it help you while you're in school, when you're leaving, you're ready for the business world. And I'm gonna switch it over to David to talk about, criticism about internal communication.
All right, thank you very much. I'll be talking about the internet communication, which kind of involved in how the CSI operates within the organization, and as well as comparing it to a couple other departments in the University of West Georgia. The main source of communication in which they operate is through meetings. The CSI mostly do a weekly meeting base in which like the organization like comes together and talk about the current and upcoming events. And also email is usually a general way of communication, but the CSI incorporates this system as like in a way like during office hours and out of office hours in which they communicate. Office cell phone is like also one of the major systems in which they communicate during the office hours for the most part, and cell phones in out of office hours. And another innovative system in which they use to communicate is GroupMe. Us as students mostly use GroupMe, but like the CSI managed to like incorporate that system in order to improve their organization, as well as them using OrgSync. They mostly use OrgSync externally, in which Fatimata will explain in a section of the slide. And
Oh, make sure the green is on the side.
right?
No?
This time. We're having some technical difficulties. Yeah, apparent. All right, and so here we have the chart, and just going in depth in a little bit more on how the CSI company operates. As you can see, 40% is through weekly meetings, and 20% is through emails, and also 20% through office phones and regular cell phones, as well as GroupMe and OrgSync. Going to the next slide is comparing it to two other major departments, which is the housing and resident life, and also the student diversity involvement. And as you can see, the housing prominently use email to communicate, and comparing it to the CSI department, and also comparing it to the Center of Diversity. They use the diversity organization mostly use a face-to-face system to communicate, and also OrgSync is mostly used in the CSI department area. And now I'm going to pass it on to Fatimata to explain in depth of the external communication process.
Okay, hi, my name is Fatima Sadie, and I'll be going over your external communications. Okay, so after analyzing your organization's ways of communicating to students and faculty, there were 4 methods, and it's social media, email, OrgSync, and face-to-face. Email was the most predominantly used communication method, which is also the most effective way of communicating at the university. Everybody at the University of West Georgia is given a Gmail account, which is given vital information such as payment schedules and everything that's just important. And also most of these emails are linked and synced to people's phones, so they get like these emails as soon as they you guys send them out to them, they receive them, so which is also a good thing. And also social media and OrgSync is also another big factor you guys use to communicate to students and faculty. Social media, everybody has a social media account, whether it's 3 or 4 different type of social media accounts, and you guys, we found out that you guys have at least 2. So yeah, and in OrgSync, everybody really knows what OrgSync is, but I don't think many people know how to work around using OrgSync. So I feel like there should be a different method that should take over OrgSync, such as face-to-face. And then after analyzing your SWOT analysis, there are some strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats. Your organization allows a lot of volunteer opportunities, allows students to get involved within the organization,
and put these volunteer opportunities on their resumes and enhance their chances of getting a job later on. And it's also funded through the university and Georgia, so you guys are given money to make these events happen. There's also weaknesses, such as the location. It's in the student center, but not too many students are aware of where it is. In the student center, like everybody's there, that's where the gym and the campus center ballroom is, but not too many students are aware of where exactly it is because it's so ducked off. Also, students' perception of the image. The Writing Center is one. Many people know exactly what the Writing Center is for. Many people are really aware of what like the residence hall, the housing and residence life is for, but I don't think many students are aware of what exactly the center of student involvement is for. The opportunities better way of promoting events, such as going on social media and promoting these events, and then that'll increase your student involvement. And threats, there's no need for the system. Students can go out and make these events, so it can cancel out CSI completely. And now I'll switch it over to David for the recommendations.
Oh, is that?
Again, so one of the main things that we discussed was, first of all, talking about how there's a clear disconnect in between students and the Center for Student Involvement. As she discussed, first of all, one of the things that you think about when you come here as a student is, of course, you understand where you can pay fees. You go to ACOG Hall. You understand where you can go to do, you can go to eat, you can go to a dining hall. But not a lot of students know where you go to get involved on campus or go essentially to what CSI is, which is a hub in order for students to go there to figure out how to get involved in campus and go there and figure out how to gain more from their experience in college outside of specifically academia, but also into extracurricular activities. And of course, can we go ahead and change? So again, talking about the visibility of where and just how you can access the Center for Student Involvement. Of course, if you guys didn't know, if you would have to go all the way to this door right here in order to get to the Center for Student Involvement. I don't know about you, but I pretty much just walk past it, just like an example of this video would be right here, in which you just see somebody just kind of strolling along, along their merry way, and they just pass right by. I mean, you can clearly see, that's just an example, just to add some humor, just to how somebody would just be walking past, and I mean, you don't see a sign, you don't see, okay, come here to join an organization, you don't see come here to get involved on campus, you don't see that type of thing. I mean, there's not even a sign that says the Center for Student Involvement is there. So it's just one of the things that would be great if we could have more of a visual appearance. That way students would be cognizant of the fact that there is an organization that is through the school that can then direct you on to other organizations on campus, almost like a phone book in 2017. Can't get a chance. Slide change. So I think one of the main things that we discussed is that there's a lot of negativity on campus. A lot of times we can get caught up in somebody getting shot or somebody getting robbed on campus. However, something that we thought would be a great idea is, as there's something that goes out in what's called the Wolf Watch on campus, somebody something goes on, something happens on campus, within 30 minutes to an hour there should be an equal and adequate response that comes back behind it. It talks about future events on campus and talks about opportunities to get involved on campus, so that it can be an offset. Because think about it, somehow magically your professors can be emailing students. You could be missing all these emails from professors all semester long, but then the second that a Wolf Watch hits your account, all of a sudden everybody wants to check their email. So why not, as there's an email that shows up in your account, have also a positive email that follows up with that talks about current events that are going on campus in a positive light. That way, as the negativity goes, you can kind of offset that with some positivity. That way, not everybody's getting caught up in, oh my goodness, my campus is falling apart. But you also can see that there's also some positive influences that are taking place on campus on a daily basis. An example would be, people coming together and just having a good time.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. You don't want to hug?
No, I'm not. How are you?
I'm the guy that just met you.
Hi. How are you?
Okay.
No, I'm not. How are you?
But yeah, so, can I get a slide change? And then another thing that we talked about is the sense that if you're a new organization on campus, getting set up in order for you to get funding for events on campus can be sort of a daunting task. It would require you to go through the school, setting up bank accounts and things along those lines. But the problem is not a lot of people understand that there is funding through the centers, for student involvement, through activity fees, and through also money that's granted by the state government that's given to the school that is allotted for students to be able to have these types of events on campus. So if we could find out ways that could, allow for us to streamline the process and allow for students to gain access to the funds that we're paying in, or that the students are paying in activity fees, that would allow for student organizations to be able to get out and do more and be able to reach more students on campus, because they didn't have, just like we talked about, the food and the different types of games that people sometimes get caught up in coming to, because a lot of times what it takes to get people to come to an event, sadly, just because of the way our campus is set up, is that sometimes there is, a situation in which people are looking for food, or people are looking for a nice, shelter to go to if it's raining outside. So, if there's more funding available for organizations, that'll allow, campus organizations to be able to get their name out there more. And then in turn, because they all are underneath the Center for Student Involvement, that would bring more attraction to the Center for Student Involvement. So say, for instance, if you go to an event that you're not really appreciating, you don't really want to be involved with that organization, but through that organization, you then find out that the Center for Student Involvement exists, you can then go from there to the Center for Student Involvement and transfer into a different organization that you could find out is the best decision of your life. Can I get a slide change? I'm actually not closing just yet. So the next part is targeted marketing. We wanted to talk about, sometimes we can get caught up in what's called a broad market, for targeting people on campus. For instance, if we go out and we put out an advertisement that targets all 12,000 or 13,000 students on campus, the return in the law of diminishing returns will tell us that, if we go out and try to target all 13,000, that would cause us to essentially be wasting funds in some places that we could be using those resources more efficiently to target students that are more likely to get involved. Say, for instance, if you have, 4,000 students that are highly likely to get involved, wouldn't it make more sense to target those people who are more so decision makers, who are more so opinion leaders on campus? Target them, because those are the people who probably have a lot of friends around them that are probably reluctant to join. Once you target the opinion leaders, bring the opinion leaders into the organizations, and once you bring the opinion leaders in, they'll bring groups of friends with them. Then all of a sudden you have one person that turns into 20, that turns into 150. Because you have somebody who has 10 friends, 5 friends, or 100 friends, they come to an event, you get those people involved first, and then they bring the rest of the people that they have in their crew or whatever, with them into the organization or into that fair or into that event that you're hosting on campus. That would allow for, campus events, that would allow for funding to be more efficiently spent, that would allow for food to stop being wasted, because I know you've seen people walk out with 20 boxes of pizza because an event was well funded, but not a lot of people showed up. And so that's just one of the main recommendations. Those 4 recommendations are pretty much the main things that we stood on. And let me go ahead and move it on to Chris again so he can close us out.
All right, thank you very much. Although this is like a more detailed part of our slogan, we came up with like a simple word, which sentence, which like make your company shine bright. So we pretty much try to like make a company shine bright and improve it as a whole. And I hope our presentation has kind of helped you understand a bit and give a better idea on how to improve your department. And now we're gonna go to the sharing of our product, which Ms. Taylor will help us distribute and talk about.
Okay, we're giving out these little boxes with candles in them. So like make your company shine bright. Candles. And we also have little bags with candy. And we have our cards, so in case you want to get in touch with us.
And please do feel free to ask questions. All of us know I'm the one that probably.
Thank you guys very much.
Okay, this is team number 3.
Ask them.
Why would working with your consulting company be a smart choice or investment?
You want to answer that?
Wait, what, can you repeat the question?
Why would working with your consulting company be a smart choice or investment?
We've worked with other companies and helped them get to where they needed to be, so working with us will eventually get you to where you want to be.
Yeah, like Taylor said, we help South Polytechnic, Marshall, Superior State, and also those are like couple examples. And we are kind of organization.
How much time or effort we needed to do graduations?
For CSI particularly, because of the time frame, this would be like an ongoing process, so I would say about like a year or two. The reason why we're working with such a long time frame is to make sure we do it correctly. Getting students involved isn't necessarily like a quick fix. It's a lot of times it's like reaching the whole class at first and letting that effect trickle down to the other classes. So
Exactly, and to be honest, Rome wasn't built in a day. We understand that this is going to take, some time. It's going to be a process that's going to be ongoing. With that being said, as these types of changes take place, you can get people to start coming out. As soon as people start taking that step out, just like one of the things that Martin Luther King said, you got to step out and take a leap of faith. That way, there can be an opportunity for people to start reaching out and start gaining that exposure to the CSI. And then in the future, we can gain, more experience in growing and more experience and also getting out there and getting the word out there to get students involved.
Why should we trust your recommendations to improve our organization now and into the future?
I would say you want to trust us with these recommendations because we're not coming from an angle of profits or we're not trying to improve ourselves. We generally want to make West Georgia a better campus with these recommendations. Because we believe by getting students involved, by helping them reach their full potential, it's something that helps everyone out in the community, period, and then even further than that.
So what risks are involved with your recommendations?
I would say a couple of risks that we may anticipate is like kind of getting some people upset, because in terms of like trying to change funding processes around, you have to go through board of regents. They're the ones that go over like every university, like in terms of like Georgia that aren't privately funded. So we're going against people who may not necessarily see the potential in it. So that may upset a couple people here and there. Other than that, I would say the only thing that we're losing here is I guess just time in a sense. So like the quicker we start like finding the right niche to work for this campus, that might take a little bit of time. But other than that, those are the only two risks that we see.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
What do you believe our long-term potential is compared to other departments we've looked at or worked with?
Long-term potential compared to other departments.
Long-term potential compared to other departments.
Of your recommendations, right?
Well, there's no direct comparison between the Center for Student Involvement and other organizations on campus, simply because the Center for Student Involvement has a very specific function. There are some carryovers, such as the Center for Diversity and Inclusion, but overall, the Center for Student Involvement would mostly be its own, self-containing organization that has many parts and moving pieces underneath it. So really, if there was going to be any kind of comparison, we would have to look inside the Center for Student Involvement instead of outside of it. Maybe potentially some organizations may be, favored for funding, or maybe there could be an organization that could be upset with another one just because maybe one, there was some kind of policy or something that was different versus a different policy that maybe, it wasn't applied fairly or it wasn't applied across the board. Other than that, to compare Center for Student Involvement to any other organization on campus, it would require you to more so go to a different university and look at the way that their, comparison as far as what their Center for Student Involvement or the equivalent in function would do there, just to see, how they do their practices and how they, shape those types of decisions on campus for effectiveness.
Are there any other questions?
I would add one more thing to that point, that while we can't directly compare to some organizations, I would say CSI has been very proactive in like reaching out to the students. Tyler was just hired very recently. He's made some big waves and redesigned the volunteering program. And OrgSync is something that was just introduced, I want to say, about 2 years ago. And a lot of D1 schools had already adopted OrgSync as well. So there are some subtle changes, and like David said, we can't like directly compare to every single organization, but they are doing some things differently. They are definitely working.
All right, thank you very much.